Before we continue with today's video, I'd like to shout out the sponsor, Simply Carbon Fiber. Now, you guys already know that I absolutely love Simply Carbon Fiber and all their 100% real, lightweight, durable carbon fiber products. And they just got a very, very exciting new product because they're absolutely game changers in the carbon fiber industry. And those are these gorgeous carbon fiber travel suitcases. These just look absolutely phenomenal. Nice, high-end, and amazing these look. Comes with a locking mechanism already. So here we go. This is not the only one they have, but they also have a nice check-in size. And look at the size difference between these two. They come in this amazing cloth, super soft, so they're protected and nice. And let me show you what's inside this thing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, forged carbon fiber. I gotta say, the forged carbon looks absolutely amazing, especially in the full size. I mean, look at these two next to each other. Super premium. Everything is solid. You have a USB connector right here as well. The wheels feel amazing. Everything about these is just super high-end and high quality. So there you guys have it. This is Simply Carbon Fiber's new awesome product. Simply Carbon Fiber is one of my favorite carbon fiber companies, so check them out. Top link in the description down below. And back to the video.
What in the hell? Yeah. If you buy this from him, this is still kind of like the OG baby. You can't be doing that to it, man. Oh boy. Well, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys missed the last video, we did a little video doing some shooting and all that. And this video, you guys saw the title and thumbnail. We're riding with my OG Aprilia and the OG homie on his regular RSV4 1100 factory. I should have been on the Extrenta. I was supposed to be, I guess, but I kind of forgot. And then they thought that we were shooting the SV, but I don't know. I just H2 was calling my day. My day. My name, so it's an H2 type of day. It's been 5 years, actually 5 years and like 2 months since I've owned my baby, the Ninja H2, the first one in the collection, believe it or not. And today we are going to be doing the 5-year review on it. She's looking so good with all the carbon. 5 years with this thing, man. And she recently got a huge upgrade, like I said, with Corsa Carbon, which is, if you guys don't know, missed out in the last few stuff. It's my new carbon company. Almost most of the carbon here is from Corsa Carbon. It's going to be fairly priced, really good quality carbon. This video is not about that. I just wanted to mention, that this thing has gotten a few upgrades. She's looking spicy, feeling good. Always a blast riding this thing. It will never get old. But yeah, 5 years, man. I can't believe it. Time flies. Time really flies. Yeah, over 10,000 miles on her. So we'll talk about some of the things, what to expect from it, everything like that, how it is riding in an H2 for such a long time. Yeah. This thing is knocking, brother. Hey, but they both got the SCs. Let's get it. The good old H2. We'll talk about the reliability of this thing. We'll talk about issues I've had. We'll talk about how fun it is, how much I like riding it, and how convenient it is. Satin white Cybertruck. That's unusual. It came out straight from Star Wars. First things first, just because I sat on this bike and I was like, it feels nice, it feels comfortable. We'll talk about the comfort on the H2R. It's still in my H2R. Sorry, this is the H2, not the H2R. Oh yeah. Little beastie. This thing, comfort-wise, the seat, everything. The Moto Corsa lever guards, which my favorite lever guards, we have them on this bike, we have them on the HP4 race and the Super Veloce now. First things first, comfort. The H2 is probably one of my most comfortable super bikes. It's a hybrid between, if you guys have ridden like the Busas, the ZX14s, they're like big couches, and the seat is comfortable. You have a lot of room in your seat, and the seat itself is not bad at all. The suspension feels really good because it's not a track bike. Usually the more track setup bikes have a little stiffer suspension. This one is kind of soft, so it just feels nice. This bike is lowered an inch front and rear. It's my only bike that's actually lowered both front and rear. Usually, well, no, I wouldn't say usually, but I have like the H2R, which is lowered slightly, the 4X just to give it more of that like sleek look. This thing, from like kind of the geometry of the bike, where the clip-ons are, I mean, these are modified, so I wouldn't say they're very stock, but yeah, they are. This bike is just comfortable, man. That's one of the things I also enjoy about it. I feel like if I really want to, I could daily it. Obviously it has pluses and minuses. Some of the minuses, I mean the pluses, like I said, is the comfort and all that. I'm not in a super aggressive racy position or anything like that, which makes it a lot better. And yeah, so far this thing has been a blast. The negatives, of course, are mainly the size of this thing and the weight. It's a very big bike, a lot heavier than most later bikes. This thing, bone stock, is 525 pounds, and most later bikes are around the 440 mark average. So almost 100 pounds heavier. Now obviously when you get rid of that exhaust system and all that, you lose a lot of weight, but still ends up being, after all, still about 70 pounds or so heavier than most later bikes. So it's a very heavy bike, and it's definitely, as you can see, she's thick with all the C's. So she's very wide, and of course I installed the H2R wings on my H2, so it makes it even wider. In places like here where you can't legally split lanes, or even, you know, if you're doing it somewhere else, it does make your life a little bit harder when you're doing all of that. Now that being said, also everything has pluses and minuses. How heavy this bike is and how it doesn't like move around also could be looked at as a good thing, because this thing at high speed, which is what it was designed for, feels super solid. It's so unbothered by wind and freeway speeds and high speeds. It's just like it does it like it's supposed to handle it, which it handles it very, very well. Now then, when you take this thing to, you know, the canyon or maybe the track, that's why I was like, when people ask me if I'm gonna take this to the track, I'm like, no, I have other bikes that are way more designed for that. This is not designed for that at all. M1000 Singular, I had to catch up to him. I remember mine, rest in peace. That bike was rented out and it got totaled, which happens, which is another reason why I don't take a lot of my really nice bikes to the track, because, you know, I mean, they're all nice, but some bikes are very rare or limited, so it doesn't make sense. Because listen, even the pros, even look at Marc Marquez, he crashes pretty often, because when you're out of the track, you push limits, no matter what your skill level is. That's the whole point, because you know you're riding hard, mistakes happen and you crash and you mess up bikes, which I definitely don't want to do to my nice rare limited bikes, which technically all of them are rare and limited, but my more limited bikes, I'd say. Let's talk about, I feel like the sound of this thing. I think it has one of the nicest sounds till now, still. I think that's a nice thing about doing a 5-year review, is that, like, oh, am I getting over this? Because some bikes become kind of like a little boring and you don't want to ride them as much. This is one of the bikes that I like. Obviously, back then when I only had this and the R1M, I got kind of used to it, but still always like gave me a feeling of like adrenaline and somewhat of a rush of like a blast to ride, because it's still such a unique bike. But what I like about this one specifically, which is, it's better actually than the H2R, maybe one of the only things where it's better than the H2R, is that this thing, idling is actually not loud at all. So, you know what I mean? Like if you're chilling at a light, you know, there's a cop nearby you or something like that, you won't get as bothered because it doesn't attract as much attention. But when you get on it and you rev it, especially higher in the RPM, this thing gets loud. Just right now before this, while we were getting breakfast / lunch / dinner, I ordered the stripes right here, which were on the OEM piece before we put the carbon one, which kind of look like this and like this. I feel like it's a little incomplete now. I love the green decals, so that's why I want to include it back on here. Bike aesthetics is one of those things where I've gotten both, to be honest with you guys. Some people are like, oh, I love it, it looks amazing. I think it looks absolutely insane. It looks like, you know, a spaceship. Some people don't like the looks. You know what I mean? They like more the simple lines, non-aggressive lines. You know, there's the people that like Ferraris, which is more classy, simple, elegant lines, and then the people that like Lambos, like me, which have more kind of aggressive body lines. This is kind of more like the Lambo. Ducati is more like the Ferrari. So you know what I mean? There's like, I feel like polar opposites. I like it all, don't get me wrong, but this is my preference. I like the aggressive line, especially the H2R, because it's even more aggressive than this. The bike so far has been pretty reliable. This bike has a full exhaust system. It actually came with the full, when I bought it, it had the full titanium acro exhaust, which was way too quiet. So I ended up straight piping it, which is an idea that I'll be doing very soon for the Extrenta before we install the exhaust. When that exhaust comes in, we're going to straight pipe the Extrenta, ride it like that, do like a ride or maybe two, probably one ride, because that's going to sound absolutely insane. And then after that, we're going to go install the GB22. But yeah, so I did that with this thing. The thing was straight piped before this exhaust came in. And yeah, it was definitely insane to ride a straight piped H2, but it was also kind of fun. I don't prefer it. It's a little too much overall, but it's, you know, for a couple rides, it's not too bad to experience it. And then we got the full Brox exhaust system because I really like the slash cut, and I feel like I was in between that and Van Diemen. A lot of people had the Van Diemen, so I wanted to do something new, something different, you know. So which is why I went with the Brox setup. And honestly, I've heard both of them, and I like the way the Brox sound a little bit more. It's a little more aggressive and punchy than the Van Diemen. That's why I went with this exhaust system. It has the POA F1 air filter, which is the max flow race filter, and it's been dyno tuned with that setup. So this bike is making a little over 250 to the wheel, which if you do the conversion probably comes up to 275, 280. I don't know, different conversions, different stuff, but 280, 300 horsepower. I call it at 300 just to round it up usually, but realistically it's probably around the 280 horsepower for this thing, which is absolutely insane for a bike that weighs pretty much about 500 pounds with all the mods, maybe even lighter. She's definitely a missile, and it feels like it, you know what I mean? I mean, this thing, like I said, is lower than inch. You have the lowering links right here, as you can see, and it's, as you can tell, it's been lowered an inch as well right here. She's lowered. She used to have straps, but we took them off because I don't do anything like crazy racing like that anymore or anything like that. So it has all type of parts, from rear sets to levers to lever guards to, you know, mainly a ton of carbon, some titanium, like this is green titanium bolts right here, which hopefully if we do get carbon wheels on this thing, hopefully I can reuse these for the carbon wheels. Yeah, this bike has been pretty much overall like decked out with a lot of parts, but primarily, you know, carbon, and then the essential mods, obviously like a tune, filter, exhaust, all those goodies like quick release gas cap, the stuff that are essentials. I would say I could do reservoirs on it. I think it would clean up the look a little bit, but I don't mind them because they're not the white reservoirs. I do want to paint the calipers, make them black with the Brembo and green. I think that'd be cool too. But yeah, still, you know, there's always more you can do to these bikes. No matter how much work you put into them, there's always more. That's what I've learned, man. And when you have multiple bikes, it's project after project after project, like it's non-stop. No project is ever complete. This bike has been fairly well maintained. You know, I'm doing the oil changes, I'm doing all that. She's probably due for spark plugs, to be honest, but the main maintenance thing that you guys have to be aware of when you get an H2 is your clutch. I have upgraded the springs on this thing, so the clutch on this, I mean, it doesn't matter if I pull it because you guys won't feel it, but the clutch is extremely heavy on it because the springs have been upgraded, and I think it lasted me about 8,000 miles until my clutch burnt out and it was slipping. And actually in the previous video you guys saw that it was slipping again. I think that was an issue because we tried to upgrade the clutch plates to the H2R plates, and I think it just didn't work or something like that. So it's already slipping again. It's only been like about 1,000 miles or something like that. So that's why we're changing it up, and we're going back to the H2 stuff, and hopefully she'll stop slipping. But it only slips in high speeds, so it hasn't been like too big of an issue for me to take care of it ASAP. But eventually we're gonna do it because Mikey already has like the clutch plates and all that. So yeah, that's the main thing that you guys need to know with the reliability of this thing. It's more of a wear and tear thing, that obviously the bike is heavy, so maybe your brake pads will wear out faster and your clutch is going to wear out faster. and probably your tires too are going to get shredded faster. You know, more power equals slightly more maintenance. Let's get it. Where's the throttle at? There it is. It's because those clip-ons are kind of more tucked in for racing. When I turn all the way, kind of like U-turn style, like right here, my wrist almost like hits the tank. So it puts that in an awkward position. And the throttle is jumpy, so you got to be careful when you're doing these turns. So yeah, we talked about the comfort, the reliability of this thing as far as I've had it. I know that if you start building them, because a lot of people obviously do, that's when they start having more issues. You know, when you start doing the supercharger gears and cams and all those other stuff. Obviously, like, you know, the more power you're trying to push, set off an alarm, the more reliability issues you're going to have, because it's more wear and tear, because, you know, it's more stress on the engine and other parts. So I know when you start building them, you start having reliability problems, but if you just do an exhaust tune and setup and stuff like that, so far they've been pretty good. Yeah, my rear brake is, front brake is fine, but just squishy in the front. So I think it just needs to be bled or something like that, or maybe because I'm used to the Xtrenta now, the bike is a lot more sluggish. Because the Xtrenta has, you know, the really nice masters, the really nice rotors, really nice calipers, so the whole setup, that on the HP4 race. So when you go back to kind of like stock stuff, even though they're Brembos, they're still not as good as the other ones. But yeah, one of the other things I wanted to talk about is obviously the bike itself. Like at this point, you know, I've been riding for, I want to say 7-8 years, and 5 of those being on super bikes like this. I feel like I've ridden almost every super bike at this point. Definitely all the standard models. There's certain stuff, like for example the Tizzy H2 I would like to ride. I would like to ride a 1299 Superleggera. I've ridden the V4 Superleggera and the 1199 Superleggera. I would like to ride, so yeah, top on my list right now to ride, like I said, is the Tizzy H2, 1299 Superleggera. Actually, I would like to ride the 1299 Superleggera more than the Tizzy H2. So Tizzy H2 is second, and third, I'd really like to ride Desmo Sedici RR. You know, the original kind of MotoGP Ducati, pretty much. Actually, we'll bump this one up to probably first place, just because I want to understand the hype. But first place, the most bike I want to ride is the Honda 213 RV RC. I don't know, I keep forgetting the names, but you know, the $200,000 Honda, which is also, you know, a MotoGP kind of replica. Yeah, and I really want to ride that thing because I want to understand the hype behind that bike, like why it's $200,000 with the stats that it has, because the HP4 Race has better stats, the Superleggera 1299 Superleggera has better stats, and I'm comparing those bikes because they're more of that era. I think that Honda is a 2016, HP4 Race is a 2018, and so is the 1299 Superleggera is a 2018 as well. So that's why I'm comparing those, because it's all kind of like that same gen. That's why I'm like, I'm not really sure why that Honda is so expensive, and I get it that it's like a MotoGP replica, but like to what extent? So definitely high up on my list. But besides those like super crazy exclusive high-end bikes, I've pretty much ridden everything, and this is one of these bikes that, like, having this, you'll never get over it. I mean, most later bikes are kind of like that, but this is definitely more of a bike that you can always ride and always enjoy and have fun on. And there's certain bikes, like for example the R1M, where when I look at it, I'm kind of like, I'd rather ride the H2 or the V4R, some of the other bikes. But when I ride the R1M, I really have fun, and I'm like, oh man, I should ride it more. Same thing with like when I had my Fireblade, when I had my Aprilia. Most of these like kind of like nice leader bikes, when you ride them, you're like, oh man, I miss this thing. But the initial of like, oh, I really want to go ride this bike is a little different with bikes like the V4R, the H2, H2R of course, the Extra, that's a big one right now for me. Even found a little bit of the Super Veloce as well, but it gives you, some bikes give you that feeling of like, I want to ride this bike before you even like ride it. And then when you ride it, you're like even more obsessed with it. And this is definitely one of those bikes that like everyone, if you hate on it, if you ride it, you're still gonna like it. You can't not respect it, even if you hate on it and you don't. What's the point? I'm a mechanic. When you ride it and you feel that like raw power and how the bike feels, you can't not like it. It's as simple as that. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is that like it has a aura and it just a law of attraction. It just attracts you to it. Maybe that's me because it's my favorite bike. So obviously I'm a little biased. Well, the H2R is my favorite, but this is the little tame version of the H2R, which is crazy to say, but you know, that's the reality of it. But yeah, that's why I love this thing. Obviously, I feel like I don't need to talk about the power and the performance of this thing, because it's an absolute unit. It's the J2. It's a supercharged motorcycle. So this thing definitely is one of the fastest motorcycles ever, and I feel like it will be like that forever until maybe they come out with flying motorcycles or something like that, where it's not going to be on the road anymore. But as far as I'm concerned, on the road, this is always going to be one of the fastest motorcycles ever. And I don't think there's going to be anything that would come out and beat it. Another bike that I would actually really like to ride that I also forgot about, and there's actually a lot on my list, is the Aston Martin one, because that bike is turboed, so that'd be really sick. And another one is the supercharged is a Turbo Busa, or the Super Busa, either or. So there's a lot of bikes I want to ride actually. We need to do more rider reviews, but those bikes are very hard to find and come by. So yeah, I can't always do that. Never gets old, baby. What a bike. But there you guys have it. This is my 5-year review of this thing. It's really, I don't know. It's been a wild ride with it, and this bike will stay in my collection for as long as possible, hopefully forever. So absolutely love this machine, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to enjoy it and ride it, and that's why I keep wanting more of them. I'm always like, I want another one, because it's just too good and I love it so much. And yeah, I get it, the looks are controversial. Some people are like, it's too much, it's a heavier bike, it's not meant to go around canyons and stuff like that, but it's an engineering masterpiece, and Kawasaki built one hell of a bike. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, right safe.